All right, Mishpachah. So let's look at question number 2. Also, I have yet to hear a clear understanding of Genesis 38, where Judah lays with the prostitute that was actually his daughter-in-law. Was he in sin? So that's a good question again. So finger pointing Judah. Was he in sin? No mention of the woman. Nobody's pointing fingers at the woman. Why is that? Mosai showed up. Somebody ate of the fruit of the tree in the garden. Who did he show up to? Adam. But wait a minute. Why are you pointing fingers at me? That's just the way it is. Genesis 38, verses 14 to 16. You see, even the Most High understands protocol. He knows whom to address. But everybody in this side don't seem to understand protocol. Power is given to one group and taken from another. You can't have both at the same time. Notice, there's no two kings sitting on one throne. Somebody's going to take the power from the other. When the Medes reigned, the Persians behaved themselves. When the time came for the Medes to stop reigning, the Persians ruled. This is why the kingdom of the Medes and the Persians is there. Y'all understand this? They shared the power, the rulership over the region. They didn't sit together. Anyway, let's get it. Genesis 38, verses 14 to 16.
Verse 14. And she put her widow's garments off from her and covered her with a veil.
Stop. She put off what?
Her widow's garments.
Widow's garments. So what does that mean? What does the word widow mean?
She's no longer in contract.
Her husband is what?
Dead.
Dead. Okay. I gotta put a little extra on that so that y'all can get it. Read it again. 14.
And she put her widow's garments off from her and covered her with a veil and wrapped herself and sat in an open place, which is by the way to Timnath.
Marketplace. She's putting herself in the market square. Go ahead.
Back on there. For she saw that Sheila was grown.
And Sheila is a male. Not Sheila, the dude, a female or something. Because I know somebody, Sheila? No, that's a male. Go ahead, was grown.
Sheila was grown, and she was not given unto him to wife.
Read verse 15.
When Judah saw her, he thought her to be a harlot.
He what?
He thought her to be a harlot.
You see, it's in red. All right.
Because she had covered her face.
Because she did what?
Covered her face.
So how is he going to know anything? Let's read verse 16. You want to say something?
Just real quick. In context, again, when you put on those Hebrew lenses, you understand the customs of a woman covering her face. You'll know that means that she's what? Off the market. But in this case, he didn't know that she was covering her face for a different reason.
Well, she made herself in a form of a harlot, and everybody in this side of the world will see harlots uncover themselves and they're stripped down to the bare necessities that is allowed on the street. But in the scriptures, the culture was that a harlot actually did what? Covered their face. You can't even see who they are. And the reason is because they live in a local village. They might live by the hill over there. And this is why when the lights go down, everybody's inside the house. There's no bunch of lights, street lights like today where you can look down the street and say, is that Ephraim? What is Ephraim? I saw Ephraim go down the street. Elder, I saw Ephraim going down the street and he went down to that house. And I know he's married. And isn't that Willabella live down there?
Willabella.
Huh?
Willabella.
Sonia. Because you know, son and put the ya at the end, Sonia.
Verse 15 again. And Judah saw her and thought her to be a harlot because she had covered her face. And he turned unto her by the way and said, Go to, I pray thee, let me come in unto thee. For he knew not that she was the daughter-in-law.
Read it again. For she knew not what?
For he knew not that she was his daughter-in-law.
Emphasis on his daughter-in-law. Read on.
And she said, What wilt thou give me that thou mayest come in unto me?
So she is the one with the knowledge of who Judah is. Judah was not the one with the knowledge of who she is. You think Judah would have gone in onto her if he knew who she was? Context is what? Everything. So the question is, who sinned? Who's the one in transgression? All right, let's go over here. Finger pointing Judah. The Bible says she put her widow's garment off. Let's see what the rules are for widowhood. Romans 7:3.
Romans chapter 7, verse 3. So then, if while her husband liveth, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead,
that's a widow.
She is free.
She's what?
Free.
She's what?
Free.
Free.
Free. From that law.
From which law?
From that law.
The law of marriage. Y'all see it?
Hallelujah.
Read.
So that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man.
So the law is connected to what? Sin. If you break the law, you're committing sin. So did Judah sin? What is the answer? No, but you're going to say, no, brother Yonah, he thought she was a whore, a prostitute. Okay, we'll cover that too. We got it coming. Strange approval. Let's look at the strange approval. Because remember, Judah went with a woman, her name was Tamar, right? Okay, let's read Ruth 4, chapter 4, verses 11 to 13. Let's look at the strange approval.
And all the people that were in the gate and the elders said, we are witnesses. Yahuwah make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel, and do worthily in Ephrath, and be famous in Bethlehem.
Read on.
And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah.
Let your house be like the house of Tamar. We'll come back to that. Go ahead.
Of the seed which Yahuwah shall give thee of this young woman. So Boaz took Ruth, and she was his wife. And when he went in unto her, Yahuwah gave her conception, and she bare a son.
No, Boaz gave her conception.
Yahuwah gave her conception.
All right, so I underlined and highlighted and bolded some things just to bring it out to the forefront, right? We are witnesses. Witness of what? Let's see what the witness is all about. Yahuwah. Who's doing it? Yahuwah make. Who's doing it? Yahuwah is the one making the woman that has come into your house, like who? Two sisters. Who's doing it? Yahuwah. Because Jacob, when he was running from Esau, because his mama told him, go and with the approval of your father, go to my family up north, right? And go by my brother and hang out there until your brother has cooled himself down. When he got close, he's like praying, Most High, if you're with me like my father and my father's father, then I'll give you 10%. You take the oil, you pour it, you anoint. Angels went up and down. In other words, there was a communication. The Most High accepted him.
Transaction.
He opened his mouth, he spake, and the words was already done, sealed in heaven.
Established.
When he showed up at his uncle, all of a sudden, blessings after blessing, multiplying wives, multiplying animals, multiplying children. Who was the one doing the multiplying? Jacob? Jacob says, give me that woman, give me that woman, give me those animals, give me all those children. Did he do that?
I want.
He didn't ask the Most High for any children. He didn't ask for a bunch. He didn't even ask for a wife, one, singular. So everything that happened from that prayer was of the Most High, not of Jacob. So Yahuwah make the woman singular that is come into your house like what? Two women. One woman, two women as one woman. Two women as one woman. Achad. Now these are the same women that was going back and forth over what? Children. And this context here in Ruth 4, 11 to 13 is about what? Children.
Same thing.
Progeny, inheritance. Because this is also prophetic. going to the Messiah, and the Messiah to
Bring
as
it
a
back.
kinsman redeemer back to Israel again. So even though we are many as tribes, we are still Achad, one under the Messiah.
One house.
Which two did build what? The house of Israel. One house. Two. Whose doing was that, Mishpachah? So this is a strange approval. And do thou worldly in Ephrata. Now let's go to verses 12.
Verse 12.
Read.
And let thy house be like the house of Pharez, whom Tamar bare unto Judah, of the seed which Yahuwah shall give thee.
So Yahuwah is the one given. So let your house be like a mistake. I mean, we read the story, but we don't know what spirit happened to Judah. They do all of a sudden it's dingling and buzzing. Man, I gotta take care of this business. You're just feeling like the heat. I can't sit down, sleeping at night. I'm getting strange dreams. I need a woman. Wake up in the morning. Listen, man, I gotta get me something now.
The first one I see by the corner.
I burneth.
Burneth.
It's better for a man to marry than to what? Burneth. You look around like, shoot, man, I already had trouble with that Canaanite woman. I don't want to be married to another woman, so bing, prostitute right there. All right. I know I'm getting some money coming up fourth night.
He was like, psst,
So I don't have enough. I don't have no money. So let me go and see if we can haggle with her a little bit. We're gonna read that in a moment. Yes.
As I noticed that Judah's wife had died.
Yeah.
His two sons that he had died from Tamar. But if you look at it, his wife died and her husband's died. But he gained now two sons back in place.
That's right. That's true. That's a good point.
the void was
That's true.
balanced.
It was balanced again. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And they were twins.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting, huh? Twins.
They all fit back into
All
the
right.
plan of the Most High.
Of the seed which Yahuwah shall what? Give you of this young woman. Of this young, not an old woman, a young woman. You're having children. We don't understand the Most High, but all I can do is tell you what's here. But again, anybody is able to get that number? Let me see, check the chat. Looking for that number. I don't see nobody got any numbers here. Y'all are not helping your brother out, man. Y'all don't love your brothers yourself. Come on, y'all have access to all that information.
Judah was like,
Y'all know people who prophesying things and say Brother Yonah is misreading the scripture and all kinds of stuff, and y'all can't give me the number. I don't want no Cleo, brother. Wait,
call me now.
that number's not in the service. Hey, wait a minute, brother Rodney. That number's not complete. Make sure you're not giving me no social security numbers in the chat now. Okay,
Bank accounts.
the bank accounts either. Where's the area code? Because we need to know what area they're in. All right. Okay. Is that a number to Jerusalem? Okay. All right. So let's look at some more. Coincidence or coincidency? Let's see. Genesis chapter 38, verses 21 to 24.
Verse 21. Then he asked the men of that place.
That's Judah's asking.
Saying,
Uh-huh.
Where is the harlot?
Where's the who?
The harlot.
All right, read on.
That was openly by the wayside.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, There's no harlot in this place.
We don't have such a woman in our neighborhood. Go ahead.
And he returned.
Frank, if you say anything, you know you're going to be in trouble, right? Don't say anything. Don't speak, Frank.
He like, shh.
And Frank says, yeah, she's up the street. Oh, how did you know she's up the street, Frank? How you know that there's a harlot up the street?
Telling on himself.
I mean, you told me that. I never said that, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Verse 22.
Aha.
And he returned to Judah
He returned to Judah
and said, I cannot find her. And also the men of the place said that there was no harlot in this place.
We checked around the whole neighborhood. We don't know of any woman like that fits your description in this place. Go ahead.
That means that that person did not stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody stand out, you're going to see. Is that the woman in red across over there?
Mm-hmm.
Verse 23, and Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be ashamed.
Lest we be shamed.
Be
Go ahead.
shamed, sorry. Behold, I sent this kid that thou hast not found her.
And you have not found her. Go ahead.
And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, hath played the harlot.
Mm-hmm.
And also, behold, she is with child by whoredom.
Mm-hmm.
And Judah said, bring her forth, and let her be burnt.
All right. We have a lot of different things going on in here that we need to take a look at. And it's going to open up some very interesting things for you to go back and explore how beautiful the scriptures are. It mentions a harlot. It mentions something in verses 23, and Judah says, let her take it to her. Who's he speaking to? Who's the her? Let her take it to her. That's a very strange piece of writing. And Judah said, let her? Who's a her? Take it to her? Anybody can figure that out? Lest we be shamed. So if you don't give this thing, he says, lest we. What does these other men have to do with Judah's singular shame? Judah said, let her take it to her, lest we be shamed. Behold, I sent this kid. It didn't say a lamb. It says a kid. I wonder why. And you have not found her. And notice it says 3 months had passed.
3.
And now it says that Tamar has played the harlot. Let her be what? Burnt. What does burning and harlotry and a kid and 3 and let her take her and all that stuff have to do with anything? Sacrifice. Let her take unto herself. Sacrifice, sin offering. Okay, scapegoat, let her keep it. All right. Is this a mere coincidence? The female kid was always burnt. Let's go to Leviticus. Let me see if it's here. Leviticus 4, verses 27 to 29. Let's get it. This is very interesting.
Leviticus chapter 4, verses 27 to 29. And if any one of the common people sin through ignorance.
Sin through what?
Ignorance.
What was Judah's involvement in this whole thing?
Ignorance.
He was what? He was ignorant. Go ahead.
While he doeth somewhat against any of the commandments of Yahuwah concerning things which ought not to be done, and be guilty.
Because Tamar by default was supposed to be transitioned to the other son. And that would be breaking the Torah. But her husband was dead. So Judah was not guilty because she was a widow. But according to our laws and our customs, she's supposed to be transitioned. That was the agreement. If that agreement was broken, Judah, the thing would have been no problem at all. But because she listened to him and she waited for him, that means that everything was still a go. She was waiting. And she waited as long as she could have waited. But when she saw an opportunity to bypass all the other stuff, it happened that way. But remember, we had no clue what was going on here because the Most High's wisdom is wiser than all of us put together. And I don't have that. Y'all haven't provided me with the time traveling information so I can go back and agree with some of the other people.
It's just like the same incidents with Esther and with Ruth and even with Sarah and a lot of the women that were there. They used what the Most High told them to do in the sense of, we would call it a form of deception or a form of this or whatever it is, or being sneaky or whatever. But the Most High allowed it to flow that way so it can fall into place.
Let's read verses 28 now. Let's look at this very interesting law here.
Verses 28. Or if his sin, which he hath sinned, come to his knowledge.
So if it comes to your knowledge, go ahead.
Then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female.
A what?
Female.
A female.
Without blemish for his sin which he hath sinned.
Let's go back here. Let her take it to her. As if there's a setup here that is not a coincidence that a female kid is always used. In this instance, Judah wanted to have this woman burnt as if she was in the place of, like she was acting the role of a female goat because of the sin of what? Ignorance, or even the sin of knowledge, because the thing came to light later on and Judah was shamed. He went through two processes. First, he was ignorant. Then when it came to light, he was ashamed. Tamar acted a role of both the harlot, but also as the kid, the female goat. And the pronouncement was that she had to be burnt the same way with the goat. To bring balance, because a wrong was done. Judah did a wrong that opened up this thing, but from this whole thing was peace. To settle this thing in the eyes of the Most High, there must be a balance, otherwise things are off balanced. This is why they see about 3 months afterwards, this thing was not resolved. For 3 whole months, this thing was not resolved. He wanted to have peace. He wanted to, and notice what did Judah was bringing. He didn't bring a lamb. He brought a goat. You think it's a coincidence that he brought a goat as part of the price to this harlot?
That means he understood the law.
It is more to what we read in this text that's dealing with the Most High's providence or will that we don't really understand. But when you read these things and you look and you do comparisons, you start to see, well, this is beyond my understanding. I got to sit down and go through this thing a little carefully, closer look. You got men involved, had nothing to do with those men, that they're going to be shamed, that they're sharing. Because remember, this whole sin falls on all of Israel. It falls upon the congregation, that something had to be put in place of the rest. Judah was ashamed when he realized that it was Tamar. She says, who this sign belongs to, who this thing belongs to, whoever it is, this is who I got pregnant. Judah's like, oh shit, I can't say nothing. No, and everybody be looking at him like, you
did what?
You slept with your daughter-in-law? It was not his fault in that sense, but it was his fault. He was not ignorant, but he was ignorant. And it had to bring some balance to the whole thing. And the Most High, by providence, made him bring a kid that could not be burnt. A kid to the woman. Let her take it to her. It's as if, let this female goat be brought to this female to bring balance. Otherwise, we're ashamed. And the shame has to do with a sin, an imbalance. Behold, I sent this kid, but you have not found her. And you have not found her. And 3 months later, you have what? Life. Because what happened? It says this woman is with child. What does 3 have to do with children? But bearing seed. In the 3rd day, life came forth from the earth. The green, bearing seed on the 3rd day. The 4th day was the sun, judgment. Testing, trial, the heat tries you by day. Mishpachah. Is this making any sense to anybody? Are we seeing some things here?
Oh yeah. It's clear.
So
it's
the
clear.
word, what is it? Let her take goes into lakah, to take, fetch, lay hold, seize, receive, acquire, buy, bring, marry. Isn't that interesting? Marry, take a wife, snatch, take away. Marry, take in marriage, take in marriage. Isn't that interesting?
Contracts. Because all this have to do with contracts. When you have the sacrifice.
So she was trying to secure her right of inheritance, part of this household. And Judah was the top of the line. Now, it's interesting how the law says one of the common people. Was Judah just a common person, or was he a head of the tribe? One of the heads of his tribe.
They call Yeshua a commoner too.
Okay. All right. Or verse 28 again. Read that again for me one more time.
Or if his sin, which he hath sinned, come to his knowledge, then he shall bring his offering, a kid of the goats, a female without blemish, for his sin which he hath sinned.
All right. Think again. Question. We all agree that law is not to be violated. But will Yahuwah violate his own Torah? Weren't we commanded to walk as he walked? We've already seen that. So I want to cover the part with harlotry now. It's prohibited. Let's see what the book says. Prostitutes and prohibited marriages of Yahuwah. Let's look at case number 1. Judges chapter 14. We're going to read from 1 to verses 4. Prostitutes, keep it in mind. Let's read.
Judges 14, 1 to 4. And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife.
Isn't there a prohibition against marrying these other nations? Don't marry them? All right, let's read verses 3.
Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren?
So the mothers and the parents are correct. Can't you find a woman amongst your own people? Read.
Or among all my people?
Even among this family lineage right here?
That thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well.
So the context here, the uncircumcised Philistines, I want you all to take that and take it all the way over to the New Testament. Whenever you see it talks about uncircumcised, it's dealing with people outside of the Torah, Israelites who are not in the Torah. So when you see the word uncircumcised, it's a slander. It's a derogatory word to a regular Israelite. One that is keeping the Torah is saying to another Israelite that you are like the Philistines or a heathen. Okay? It's a byword. And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleases me well. Let's read verses 4.
But his father and his mother knew not that it was of Yahuwah, that he sought an occasion against the Philistines.
Who sought an occasion?
The Most High.
The Most High, read.
For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel.
So, isn't that a contradiction to the Most High's word? Don't marry of the Philistines, but the Most High allow this thing to take place?
Sleeper.
Like, I mean, all of a sudden, a spirit... You have so many attractive women in Israel, but you have a spirit that just can't leave you, that he says, please, daddy, he said to his father, get this woman for me, set the arranged marriage.
She pleaseth me well.
He couldn't, it wasn't of himself, like Caiaphas did not speak of himself, but he prophesied saying that that man should die for not that nation only, but should gather in one all the children of Israel, all those that are scattered, the household of Israel. He was not of himself. The Most High was upon him to put that spirit on him to get this thing. The context is very important. Do y'all understand this? It was for a reason.
The greater good. And you see sacrifices like this happen, where it's like, if you look at it, the Most High is embedding him into the enemy to take down the enemy.
That's right. All right, let's move on, because we don't understand culture. We don't understand rights and access and privilege. What happens by marriage? What do you have access to according to Canaanite law? Prostitutes and prohibited marriages of Yahuwah. Let's look at case number 2. Hosea chapter 1, verses 2 and verses 3.
Verse 2, the beginning of the word of Yahuwah by Hosea. And Yahuwah said to Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of whoredoms.
Of what?
Of whoredoms.
No.
From the Cana.
Let's go back for a second. Let's go back to the question. Question number 2. Also, I have yet to hear a clear understanding of Genesis 30, where Judah lays with the prostitute. Okay. Let's go right over here. Back to over here. Read verses 2 again.
The beginning of the word of Yahuwah by Hosea. And Yahuwah said to Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of whoredoms and children of whoredoms. For the land have committed great whoredom, departing from me, or from Yahuwah.
Read.
So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Diblaim, which conceived.
Which what?
Conceived and bare him a son.
So even though he knew that she was of whoredom, he still lay with her because of what? What was he obliged to do?
Bring forth.
What was a man obligated to do when you marry a woman?
Bring forth.
Bring forth children. Be fruitful and what?
Multiply.
Even though she was a harlot. Now let's see what the ISV, International Standard Version, has to say. Let's read verse.
When a message from the Lord came to Hosea, the Lord told him, go marry a prostitute.
Marry who?
A prostitute.
A prostitute. So that you would understand, according to the brother's question, the whoredom is a prostitute. Read on.
And have children with her.
And have children with this prostitute.
Because the land is prostituting itself by departing from the Lord.
Leviticus 19 and 29. Let's read.
Do not prostitute thy daughter to cause her to be a whore.
So whoredom, when you cause your daughter to be prostituted, you're causing her to be a whore. Read on.
Lest the land fall to whoredom, and the land become full of wickedness.
You see the same thing that Ahasuerus did with Vashti, set an example. He set an example. If you prostitute your daughter, women will think it's okay. I've seen what's her name? Just make a Mariana. I should make up a name. Mariana's father put her on the street, so I guess it's okay. It's okay.
But the women and the land go hand in hand, because when a woman has offspring and they multiply and multiply, that is what the land is talking about. The whole land, all the offspring becomes wicked.
You can't reverse the roles. Seed can be sown into land and the land bear fruit. But you can't have the opposite. Men buy property. Men buy land, and then they put whatever they want on that property. But you can't have the opposite. Land don't buy people. People buy land. Men are the ones who purchase for what? Inheritance. Okay? This is the way of our culture, which is foreign to many of us, and this is why we will have these problems of understanding, because you have a head that is like a blockhead, with calluses of Christianity on it. Layers and layers, thick layers of calluses on the head, scar tissue. And you're trying to penetrate that, what do you call when your toe has a bunion on it and you got these big old things on it? Corns. You got a hard corn on the head.
But if you notice,
and the Hebrew word is trying to penetrate you, and you take in your little toolkit and you're scraping. You say,
flesh.
if I shave this thing, this bunion off, it'll come down to where I can see soft flesh, but it's a hard knuckle on the thing.
Yeah, because
And for some, hold on, brother O'Shea. I'm flowing here for a minute. Just hold on. Hold on. Keep your thought there for a second.
Go ahead.
And you're applying all kind of tools, and you on Amazon trying to scrape away that dead flesh, and for some reason it's not coming through.
Filing.
And when you start to see a little bit of blood, oh, I'm bleeding. Is the tender flesh? I've hit flesh. Brother Yonah has pulled away so much scar tissue that all of a sudden, when a little blood is drawn, all of a sudden y'all upset.
Mm-hmm.
He's bad. He's a bad brother. Why are you going there? You're causing the people to hurt, bleeding out, and all kind of stuff. Well, you want to return to Israel. That means that you got to get all that scar tissue out. Is that what you want? Don't you want to be sassy again? All that stuff got to go. I want to be sassy, but I don't want to bleed. Well, I mean, you want to go back to the garden. Yes, Brother Shea. What do you want to say?
I was just going to say all that scar tissue have no nerves or no feeling in it. It's dead. So you have those calluses that thick like that day. So they can't feel anything. So by the time you scrape with all of that, they still ain't feel nothing.
Baby, rub that for me.
Kiss it.
And you're rubbing it. You're rubbing it. You feel it? I don't feel it. Rub it. You feel it?
Corns. Popcorns.
It can't penetrate. So it's hard for this thing, for the truth to penetrate the head because
That's right.
there's so much stuff there. All right, let's see what it says about prostitutes. It says perhaps a marsh. The word prostitute in the Hebrew says a marsh.
Swamps.
Now think about it. A woman, a wife, is as good ground. But a prostitute is like a marshy area. A swamp.
Gators.
Stinking, they said stinking, of 2 towns in the tribe of Judah. Now think about a marsh for a second. Don't smell so good.
Boggy.
There are things growing in it, but you don't want to eat from it.
Stuck.
And if you go in it, you might sink. You might touch something. Your life might be in danger. Crocodiles,
you don't know what's under
snake,
there.
treachery. You feel like you're lost. It don't feel like home. You know there are some people that live in swamps.
Mosquitoes.
And you're like gator bites. They call them the Cajun people.
The Cajuns.
Cajun people.
Cajuns.
They love the swampy areas. They eat gator bites. They don't look so good when you see them.
Catfishes.
Frogs, snakes, alligators, crocodiles, all kinds of creatures that normally, that's what you find in swamps. Marshy places, right? Now, it's not, marshes serve a purpose. It's a buffer between the sea and the land. It's the go-between. And a prostitute, in many cases, is like a go-between. A go-between. Okay? Crawdads. What's a crawdad, Yaakov? I don't know. See, I don't know the language. Brother Yaakov, what do you mean by Yaakov of ABQ? Because we want to make sure we identify the right.
Crawfish.
It's crawfish?
Yeah, crawdads are crawfish. That's what it's called.
I don't know. I'm surprised you know that. How do you know that?
Let me know how
How
I
did
know
you come
that.
to know that stuff?
I know about food.
You've been exploring something?
I'm a chef.
Oh, a chef. Okay, you cooking that stuff?
No, I don't cook that stuff. I fish with it though. You catch them. They're little lobsters.
I'm just shaking it to see what falls out. I don't know. I accuse no one. I accuse no one. All right, so let's look at this. So here you have the Mosai is telling this man here who's a prophet, go marry a prostitute. Hey, am I the Most High? All right, so I think that's, do you have anything that you want to bring on that?
No, go ahead. You're good.
Okay. So we can see examples of how the Most High operated and what he was trying to do. And that Hosea could have said, well, Lord, you know that it is prohibited for me as a prophet to lay down with a marsh, a swampy place, a places where I'm not, my certain death may happen, may not happen. Stinking sands, mud. I don't know what's going to happen here. And can you imagine, a prostitute is all about the money. What does a prophet have to give this woman?
Businesswoman.
So The Most High used her as an example of a woman that leaves her husband and go back into the business. And can you imagine Hosea having to go up and down town looking for his wife?
Knocking from doors to doors.
And you're not even sure if that child that is born is really yours.
And that's what I was going to get to. See, because he conceived and bare a son, but that marshy ground, you don't know what kind of seed you're getting. It may or may not grow. It may or may not be your seed.
May not be. Yes, Elder.
So,
Shalom, Elder. What's on your mind?
You know, when you look at a prostitute, that woman is a defiled woman.
Yeah,
Yeah, going and take different men to go for the husband now. She leave the husband to do that. And then the husband, which is an Israelite, a prophet, to go and search for that woman that is defiled. Huh?
So it was tough for that prophet to go through this thing. But again, context is everything that we need to keep in mind. Context is everything, right? Would you say that the prophet Hosea sinned? Is the Most High causing him to sin?
He won't do that. That's his doing.
what is the reason behind of it?
It's the Most High's will allowing certain things to happen. Now remember, the Most High already said, as far as we already covered that with polygyny, that is not prohibited at all by the Most High. People can opt in or out of that situation accordingly, right? Yep. And then there are certain things, if a brother dies, those things would happen. Were there prostitutes during that time in Israel? Prostitutes happen throughout Israel, whether you like it or not, because some women will not have a husband to take care of them, and they will find themselves in bad situations. And the Most High he always wanted women to be covered. He never wanted women to be left out on their own. Some women, they have a wealthy husband and they don't need certain things, so they can afford to run their household based on the wealth of their husband. They can manage things to some degree, but many cases will get married. The problem is that a lot of times, the way that the mishpachah, the family set up, you don't want your wealth that you built as a living husband to be passed on to another man as a dead husband. So that now all your inheritance is moved on to another man. This is why the daughters of that man, the two daughters said, my father don't have any sons. And the Most High said, okay, this is what you're going to do in that situation. And this is how it's going to be. Those daughters can marry, and the inheritance is going to go to the daughters, but those daughters cannot go outside that family tree, that family lineage, to keep it close. So they may marry like a second cousin or some third cousin or some cousin in the family, and therefore it's still linked back into that same family. The genetics is still there. Okay, so even if anything is still coming back to a kinsman redeemer, all right? Same thing with Boaz and Ruth's husband and Naomi's husband and so forth, okay? So I hope you all understand this thing. And when you look at the our people, Brother Kin is here, Yoruba, you'll find a lot of these practices are there. Very interesting study I was looking at where a particular author for Near Eastern culture put the Yoruba right at the top with all of the Hebraic customs. Okay, similar customs as an example of how things. You would say to yourself, well, this is supposed to be about Near Eastern culture. Why would you want to? And they're on the side of their mouth, they're telling you that the people are Israelites, but they don't want to tell you that the people are Israelites. Oh, we find this custom over there, but we're not going to draw the bridge so you'll get any ideas to link up the two, that these are Israelites in Africa. We'll just call them Yoruba. We don't want to say that these are Israelites. We'll just call them by these other names and stuff to keep that, blindness to some extent there. Yes. What's up?
The brother says, thank you for taking the time to answer the questions.
All right, not a problem, brother. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So everybody's good so far.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ima wants to say something.
Ima, yes, Ima.
I was looking back at Leviticus 19 that was talking about don't make a daughter's prostitute because
Yes.
the land of the whoredom.
Mm-hmm.
And was saying that the reason why all of that
Speaking to the mic, Ima,
the
because
reason why he
mm-hmm.
put all of that there because he know that the land that they was going to was having that. If you remember when the children of Israel, the children of the parents died in the wilderness, but the children that was coming in, when Joshua and the spies went to spy the land,
29.
it was right there where they had a prostitute,
Mm-hmm.
and that prostitute had saved their lives.
Mm-hmm.
When the so that was already in that land
Mm-hmm.
that was coming into.
Talking about Rahab.
Rahab, that's
Mhm.
right. And that's why
Mhm.
he was trying his best at the beginning to let them know this is not right.
Mm-hmm.
But it happened because they remember that when all the elders died off, Joshua and all the forefathers, that they decided to turn from Yah and turn to do what they wanted.
My wife and I have recently come into the truth. This coming Feast of Trumpets will be our first, and we had most recently been keeping the Shabbat on Fridays and Saturdays only. After watching the teaching on your page, we now have come into the understanding that those days are not factual and trying to keep the true Shabbat. We have been counting from the moon cycles. However, we are of concern of not starting the Feast of Trumpets on the correct dates as the weekly Shabbat. Can you please advise? All right. All right, so let me do something here.
Put that video in there for them.
So yeah, go ahead and post the link. So let us go to Leviticus chapter 23, and we're just going to touch on, well, let me go to Genesis first. Chapter 1, verses 14. So in the book of Genesis chapter 1 and 14, it says, can you read for me, please? Well, you finished what you're doing?
Yeah, I'll put it after. Genesis chapter 1 and verse 14. And Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years.
Now notice it says day from night, day from night. So I know what happens is when you read the evening and the morning, it confuses people, right? But day from the night. So the day part is where we focus on as far as the Shabbats is concerned, especially when you think about Eastern or ancient customs. We didn't have modern electricity like back in those days like we do today. And also when the sun goes down, everyone try to make it home before the sun set. You can read the book of Judges where it's mentioned that the sun is going down, so please remain here. Remember what that crime that the tribe of Benjamin, a group within the tribe of Benjamin did? Okay, and the man says, stay home here because when it's dark, this is, so it's customary for people not to be traveling by night. All right, so work ended at a certain time. You need enough time to make it home or wherever you are. You stay put until the daybreak again. And when the day break, you have the ability to perform a duty. The only people that was really about the place doing anything were the watchmen, were the soldiers. These are the men who had to keep watch and were armed to the teeth, okay, with the shofar to keep the place safe. But in most cases, your animals, even animals will tell you what yum means. And when you look into the word yum, I'll get into that. I did it some years ago. I have a clip I need to post, but it explains that yum has to do when you're the warming of a day, light. When a day warms up, not when the day cools down, when it warms up. The word yom in the ancient Hebrew, Paleo-Hebrew, signifies that which warms up. And the yad is a hand, okay, that is used for the word yom. And yad is signifying doing work. You use your yad or your hand to work. And work is not done at night, it's done during the day. It's done during the day. So the word yom is comprised of Paleo-Hebrew lettering that gives us a whole lot of meat on there. Okay? And it even has to do with something that's going on when it's getting dark, a blanket. And if you have animals, for example, and you put a covering over their eyes, notice what happens to the animals immediately.
There you go. To calm down.
They start to go into a sleep state. They understand that darkness means to do what? Go to sleep. As soon as the light comes up, ready to go, ready to scratch, ready to go about doing a business. Now, I'm not speaking about owls because I know some super Hebrews going to say, well, what, brother, you know, what about the owls? Well, they're working by night. But in most cases, they're around during the day. But they have a job to deal with animals who move about the night. But my point is that darkness is connected to you staying put, you resting, you're not doing any type of work. To perform the Shabbat, you're up, you present yourself, and the Most High does not require us to present ourselves at night either. Yes. Which one?
We live as an example of sheep. That's what we're compared to. So you won't want to see no sheep at night grazing. They find their place and they'll be there chewing the cud, laying down, sleeping in their designated areas.
They'll say, Brother O'Shea, but the shepherd was out by night watching over the sheep. That's the point that you missed. The word watching over the sheep. That's security.
Because the wolves come out at night.
That's security. Not feeding sheep. Judges 19, verses 9. And this is dealing with stay put, okay? Read for me Judges 19 and 9. Read.
Judges chapter 19 and verse 9. And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine.
And this is a Levite. This is a who? Of the tribe of Levi. What is a Levite who has to handle the business of the Most High work doing with a concubine? That means he was married. What is he doing with a concubine? Anyway, let's move on, Brother Shay.
And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the damsel's father, said unto him, Behold, now the day draweth toward evening. I pray you tarry all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thine heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early on your way, that thou mayest go home.
So if that day, when the sunset is the same day, why would you say tomorrow? You get up early. Tomorrow get you early on your way. So tomorrow begins when? With the sunrise. With the sun, rising of the sun, that's what tomorrow means. Tomorrow is not at sunset. You can't find that. There's no tomorrow when the sun set. It's tomorrow is always at the rising of the sun, okay? All right. So let's go to Leviticus 23 real quick. So we do everything based upon, let me go back here real quick, over here, back to Genesis chapter 1.
Yeah, Brother Jacob, yeah, that's true. When you look at that, it highlighted the father-in-law. That means he was married. The father-in-law was there when he was with the concubine. So it can go off another spin.
Yeah, some people are going to not like that so much. But anyway, it says to divide the day from the night, let them be for signs and for seasons. That's dealing with signs in the heavens, seasons dealing with the four seasons of the year, and for what? Days and for years. Days build up into weeks, weeks build into months, months build into years. It don't have to give us for days, for months, for weeks, and every single breakdown for seconds, for hours, and all that stuff. That's Hebrew stretching things out. That's a super Hebrew Bible. Okay, but we have enough understanding that the luminaries is the calendar. So keep that in mind, Brother Marcus. The luminaries is the calendar. And for those who are new. So therefore, no man can change what the Most High put in heaven. You can write things on paper. This is why I always use the analogy of if you're stranded on an island or you're unconscious and you wake up from your dead sleep. Sometimes I've had situations where either I'm sick or I'm really tired and I go to bed and I'm such in a deep sleep that when I get up, it's dark. And I'm thinking, what day is it?
Is it time?
And I'm like, what day is it?
Is it the time yet, Lord?
What day is it? I'm looking around. I can't. Huh? You were sick for a long time and you're out of it. Somebody have to tell you what day it is. Or if you already have the knowledge of the luminaries, you would know. Just all I have to do is look up and I would be able to know what time it is. If it's the daytime, you put a stick in the ground, you can know it's noon, morning, noon, or evening. When the night comes out, you can tell by the looking at the moon.
For the watches.
By seeing the cycles of the moon. It takes, like a train moving, the train is not going to stay still for you, and then you hop on. You have to run to a certain speed and then catch up to the train, and then you follow, you go, continue. So the first time you're looking at the moon, you're going to be a little bit off, and then you start seeing how it's going, boom, 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 boom. Then, oh, okay, I see it.
Understand.
You just keep following it until you catch up to it, and then you're going to see the resetting or the renewal of the moon, the cycles of the moon. It's not a new moon like it's a brand new moon the Most High is putting. It's just a renewal of the cycles of the light.
Clock.
The light is what we follow. We always follow the light, not the darkness. We follow the light. Okay? Some brothers follow the darkness. And some brothers say it started with the bright moon. But all societies of old time, they would pick and choose, cherry pick and say, we're Israelite based upon ancient history, but they don't use ancient history even among Israelites who are dispersed in places like Africa, right here in the Americas and so forth. They don't use that ancient history to show that the sliver of the moon is a new moon. You know, that's still our brothers. We love them. And we still keep walking the road to Zion. But we leave that for our King. Isaiah chapter 2, Micah 4 is going to deal with that issue.
And then you have, like you were talking about the phases of the moon. I post the links in the chat. So when you get a chance, go ahead and look at that. They have plenty of information talking about that subject so you can have a better understanding.
Read verses 16.
And Elohim made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night.
So the sun is dealing with the day and the moon is dealing with the night. Now let me do something quick here.
And like Rebbe's saying, once you gain that understanding, you can understand the cycle. Because it's the word cycle mean is going to do what? Come back around. It's just a turning thing that goes.
Let me go here real quick. Go ahead.
In that order. So you're going from one point, the beginning to the end, to the beginning to the end. So it's a clockwork. And when you're looking at it, said it many times, when you see that first sliver on the right side, that's the beginning, not the left side, because don't forget, it starts on the right, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until it gets full, and then it decreases on the left to the left, decreases lesser to the left side. So now you have a lesser light. So when you see that sliver on the left, that moon is dying. It's getting old. The month is ended.
Right over here, I type in a search for Sabbath night. I don't see any place in the Bible that says Sabbath night. Let's type in the word Sabbath day. And you have 82 places where, well, Sabbath day is mentioned, Sabbath day or day and Sabbath in, day. But you have some Sabbath days mentioned. The seventh day. Okay, let me see. Seventh night. 0 for seventh night. Seventh day, let's see, seventh day. On the seventh day, seventh month, seventh day, 17th day, and such like. So you see, what does that pertain to? Just go look into it and you'll get a better understanding. But anyway, what we want to talk about here, just real quick before we wrap it up, is we're going to go to Leviticus chapter 23. Yeah. Now, when sun sets wherever you are, look out for the sighting of the moon. Some places is going to have bad weather. When I say bad weather, I mean you're not going to be able to see because of rain and so forth. So rain is not bad.
Yeah,
it's just rain.
Weather.
Okay. Yeah, or the spray in the sky and so forth, right?
I'm glad you said that. That's just a thing where we are so westernized, we call the weather bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's just raining. Is rain bad? No.
No, the sun is still shining, even though you can't see the sun, but the rain, the clouds. Anyway, so let's read Leviticus 23, verses 1. And so when the sun sets and we see that sliver of light, we know that the next day is Yom Teruah. So we will be meeting on that day. If the moon shows up tonight, tomorrow we're gonna meet. I'll be here live, and y'all can come on in, or we can fellowship. It comes suddenly like that, okay? And we're not supposed to be working. This is why ahead of time it's good for us to know these things. But again, we're in captivity, so it is what it is until you can learn and you can better yourself to get out of that situation, right? Then after that, the next feast that follows after that is gonna be Yom Kippur, or the Day of Atonement, okay? That's going to be the next feast after that. And after that is going to be Tabernacles, a whole week. The first is a Holy Convocation. And the last one is also, the last great day is also Holy Convocation. We'll get into that too, all right? And those are the Shabbats accordingly. So when we see those days, you want to start preparing yourself accordingly. And I think it was posted in a chat. It wasn't posted? No? You have the thing with where Sister put the paperwork for the feast days?
Oh, let me see.
Send it again. Send it to me.
Let's see if I have it in the email.
Let me see if I can pull it up.
Did you send it to me?
Give me 1 second, Mish Pakal. Let me try something here.
I don't have it yet.
Oops. Let's move this out the way. Let's see.
Let me pull it up. There we go. Let's see.
Just send it to me, and I will. I'll pull it up.
Okay, so I have it here. Let me post it. Let me send it to you now, or I'll just post it there.
Send it to me here. I'll pull it up from over here. Just put put it in the chat here.
Okay,
in this chat. Just message it to me.
Okay, I'll send it to you now.
Okay, and I'll just pull it up so y'all can see. All right. Give me 1 second. And I think brother Eric, I think you have it. Okay. All right, you didn't post it here.
I posted there to you.
All right, that's fine. That's okay. All right, let me pull it up this way. Well, it's not coming up that way either. Why is this? All right, I'll just read it off. Yom Teruah.
It's in the chat too, so they have it.
Guidelines. Y'all have it in the chat. Okay, we're gonna read through Leviticus. Y'all have it in the chat, and y'all can. I'll review it again. But let's read.
Leviticus chapter 23, verse 1. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, concerning the feasts of Yahuwah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, even these are my feasts.
So in verses 2, it is giving you a blanket statement, and he's saying that these are his feasts. These are holy convocations. And he explains that these are his feasts, okay? is set apart days. Now he's telling us one of those set apart days is the immediate one. It comes often, once per week, verses 3. Let us read.
6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation.
Holy convocation.
Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yahuwah in all your dwellings.
So Shabbat, like today, it doesn't say Saturday, it says 6 days. There's a reason he's wording it like that, because it was customary for people to observe the luminaries as their only calendar. As you travel in different parts of the world, it changes. Because if you go to a country like Babylon and the king rises up and feels like he wants to make his own calendar, different from however the previous king did it, how is that going to go? And then when you move to another country, that king have a different calendar. How is that going to go? Whenever you go to Rome, you do Romish stuff, right? Greek. So you're all over the place. The Most High is not the author of confusion. So he gave us something that is proof. Because guess what? In Babylon, the farmers farm the same way like in Greece. What do I mean by that, Brother Yonah? What do you mean by that, Brother Yonah? Well, don't they harvest things based upon the cycles of the moon? Agrarian culture is agrarian culture no matter where you go in the world. The moon dictates how the food and the growing and all that stuff goes. What about a fisherman? All countries have to watch the tides. Why do you think meteorologists have a job of watching tides, pressure, and all these different things? And the moon dictates shipping ports, when it can dock, when it is dangerous to go through certain paths and whatnot. And they need to have knowledge of the stars to know how to navigate through different places. Because if the technology fails, how do we navigate? You have to be able to know these things.
Back to the basics.
Because sometimes a compass made in China may not work. We have a whole bunch of great technology from China, and all of a sudden, Jing Zhu Wu.
You go in the opposite direction.
You know, Jing didn't feel like doing work that day. Some of his noodles fell on his lap. He left the job. He didn't put the thing properly. The magnet is upside down or whatever. And your compass is all over the place, man. This thing don't work. Okay. And that's why it's important. And another thing too, if an Israelite goes to Southern Africa during Abib, it's different. That's winter. Oh no, that's fall. That's fall. Spring over here in Israel or over here is not the same down in Southern Africa. That's the fall. And the summer over here is winter over there.
That's what I was telling the brothers. It's balanced. Most High balance everything. Because according to what side of the world you're on, you're going to get daytime, you can get nighttime over there. But you follow it, you still do the same count. You can get the same result. It's just whatever side you're on.
So these are the things that we have to consider in our studies, okay? And you're going to have some people saying, well, we can't keep the feast until we're in Israel. Well, you don't keep the Sabbath either, because he did say that was one of his feasts. Oh, you have to do sacrifices with the feast. Well, don't keep the Sabbath either. If you believe Saturday is a Sabbath, where's your sacrifice? Oh, we don't do it anymore. So if we don't do it anymore, why you see, well, if we don't do sacrifices anymore on your Saturdays that you call the Shabbat, then you should have a better understanding of how we can keep the seasonal feasts without sacrifices. You should be able to know that. And that's where you run into problems with some of these people. Y'all see that, Mishpachah? Is just asking the right questions. Clowns without a show, Kiefer said. Clowns without a show. Yes, Elder, what's in your mind?
If the Lord has wanted to keep a day, a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, he will not, he will put it in the beginning. He put the day number 1, day number 2. He did not mention a name.
Yeah.
a name by day.
Sunday,
to say-
Monday, Tuesday,
Right,
Wednesday.
he didn't say that. He said day number 1 to day number 7.
Yep. Yes, that's right, brother. That way he says the Most High will get praises all day because every time zone will bring his praises forth in their seasons. And not just that alone, but along with what you just said, because of the solar, Brother Kin said, according to the radial cycle port, the sun is on determines your climate and your weather and so forth. So he gets praises on this part of the world, he gets praises on that part of the world because, all the time, because his people are dispersed into all the nations, and no matter where you are, the praises are offering up around the clock wherever we are. Okay. All right. So let's read on, Brother O'Shea. Let's get verses. Is that 3? Was it 4?
We're on verses 4 now.
Let's read 4.
These are the feasts of Yahuwah, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons. In the 14th day of the first month at even is Yahuwah's Passover. And on the 15th day of the same month is the feast of unleavened bread unto Yahuwah. 7 days ye must eat unleavened bread.
So this is dealing with the spring. First we had the weekly cycle. Now we're dealing with the seasonal cycle that are called Shabbats. Okay, holy convocations. Go ahead. In the first day ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah 7 days. If you notice carefully, the spring cycles are similar to the fall cycles. The same way you have a first month coming up, the sighting of the moon, you blow your shofar, which is Yom Teruah, right? And then the next day, the first day, so, and then you have atonement, which is cleaning your heart out, repenting, humble yourself, you're not eating any food. Find it interesting how in the spring you have the unleavened, where you got to purge everything out of your house. Purge the leaven, purge out, a time where you afflict yourself from leaven. And then you have atonement, which you afflict yourself from other things. You still have the same similar balance there, right? And then you have 7 days, and then like tabernacles, you got 7 days too, right? So read on.
In the first day ye shall have a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So Mishpachah, just keep in mind, the Most High's will for you and I is not to be working on those set apart times. Okay, so if you can avoid it now, I think it was a sister or brother who was asking about kindling fire, right? And we're not supposed to be cooking per se on this day or Shabbat day, unless it's a back-to-back Shabbat. You can prepare on that feast day for that feast. Okay, but if you can avoid preparing, cooking anything, do so. Now, if you live in the old days, the way fires happened, or the way that you have a fire is different from how we operate today. Meaning that you got to go chop wood. Anybody who's ever chopped wood before and tried to light a fire knows that
Physical work.
by the time you're done with that thing, ain't no joke. And even if you have wood already chopped and piled up, to go light the kindle fire, ain't no joke either. Sometimes it takes a while before the fire can even catch.
So it's the process of doing it. You have to put a lot of physical work just to get the flame going. But you already have this flame going, it's a different story now.
So when you read the scriptures, notice that the priests are burning stuff every single day, both the morning and evening, and are unpunished. Why is that? Why does the Most High say, don't kindle a fire, but the priest got fire burning? This is what you have to search out. So the fire is a continual burning. Now, to show you balance in the universe, the same way that the fire on the Most High's altar was supposed to be a continual burning, what do you think hell is?
Somebody trying to light the fire.
What do you think hell is?
I never stop. Continue.
So really consider carefully how the balance of the universe really work. All right. Let's read on, Brother O'Shea.
But you shall offer an offering made by fire unto you 7 days.
7 days.
In the 7th day is a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein.
So 7 days. Go ahead.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. And he shall wave the sheaf before Yahuwah to be accepted for you.
Let's skip on down so we can get to the other feast days. So you have that one. And let's go. Let's go from 15.
Verses 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Shabbats shall be complete. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Shabbat shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto Yahuwah. Verse 17. Ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deals. They shall be of fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto Yahuwah.
Seventh Adventists and other people of like mind will say, well, these things was for ancient Israel. We don't do these things today. Okay, fine. And they'll say, well, we only keep in the Saturday as a Sabbath, but we were not going to keep the feast days. Do you know that there was a lot of controversy with the early Adventist church where they actually were keeping feasts, and there were people who were going back and forth. Some were keeping the feast. Some of them were smokers. Some of them were drinking alcohol. Some of them were this and that and the other. And then they finally settled on just being more of a pro-vegan lifestyle, and also just keeping Saturday as the Sabbath. And then there was a split, and then you had Church of God, 7th day, and you had some of these other types of groups. So it's important to know the history, the origins of these people. They themselves decide what thus saith Yahuwah. They become the filters, the gatekeepers, and the Most High is like, I never said that. All right, so let's skip on down to the feast of the end of the year, okay? Let's start at verses 23.
Verse 23.
But before you go there, just to get back to the Shabbat, right? So for those of you who have a stove or microwave or whatever, yeah, you can. If you live in a cold country, keep in mind that you have a furnace that's burning all the time. If those of you live in Detroit, for example, because we'll be going there for baptism in a few days, right? If you live in Michigan, if you live in wherever, Canada, so those places, New England, everybody would know. If you live in England or any place where the weather is really cold, you know that you need to be in a warm space. Let's say Friday evening comes, you turn off all the fires. And it's about whatever degrees it is, where if you go and spit outside, we're not going to even use Celsius or degrees. Go outside and spit.
It's froze.
Go outside and try to go next to that pine tree and relieve yourself. And if you're trying to relieve yourself, and as soon as the thing before it hit the ground, it freezes, your urine freezes, then you know, okay, it's cold.
Cold is biting you.
You don't just turn off the thing. I know there's some I've sit and listened to in classes to super Hebrews.
Yes.
Who talk about we don't like no fire on Saturday.
Don't take no showers.
And Shabbat and Sabbath. I listen to these people. They have not traveled any place. They're in a nice coconut country. You know the coconut countries? Pina colada countries. And they're running their mouths as if they're the authors of the world, full of knowledge. And I look at these elders talk a lot of nonsense, and I says, I can't disrespect the gray hairs. They're my elders, but they're dummies. What do? I just sit there until I'm old enough. My wings are growing enough that I can fly off to somewhere else. Because I don't have a choice but to sit there and listen to them talk nonsense. As Ella said, The early rappers, Christian rappers, crap, Christian rap. And so they're just talking stuff. They haven't traveled anywhere. And if they go to these cold countries, let the heat goes off 1 hour.
I've had an experience. I've experienced it.
Let them fall asleep at night, because their Sabbath starts at sunset Friday. Let the sun set in those cold countries for 3 hours.
It's a different world.
And if you see blankets can't done.
Blankets don't help.
Blankets upon blanket, they will suffocate. You'll see them suffocating.
No, what they'll do is they'll package themselves perfectly to be frozen. That's all that would happen, because fire is the only thing that will give you heat. Okay, that's just the reality of the situation. So when it comes to the kindling, when the Bible says kindle, it's talking about putting that process, that work in. Okay, but the fire is what we need to keep warm, to cook, to give light. And for security. So you must have fire. So when people say these things, they have on Christian lenses, and they live in between 80 to 60 degree weather, and they've never been in a place where there's no power. It
makes no sense, heat. Brother Shay.
So
because they would have little babies too. The wife just came out of the hospital. You're gonna tell me how much swaddling clothes can you put on your child in those temperatures?
Package them.
Those people make no sense whatsoever. You need some kind of a fire to keep you warm, or something to create heat. Now we are living in modern times. Back then, in the times of Israel, even then they had to keep some kind of a heat, because Yeshua had to be in a manger, someplace warm. It was cold. And even if you think about that time of the time that the Christians say was the time of the Messiah being born, Christmas.
wait. They're in a manger. How a manger at nighttime? So there's no electricity. So how do you see?
I don't know. I'm just
in the dark. They came to visit him in swaddling clothing in the dark.
So yes, if you have food to eat,
Ima wants to say something.
And especially if you have little ones, especially when you have older ones, older people lose heat when they get older. It's just the way the Most High put things. Your body's not keeping the heat like before. Come on now. You know how many dead Israelites you're going to have? You'll have stories. And all Israelites who were so-and-so age and older froze to death. And all the little ones died. Israel would die off as a people, because of some knucklehead who live in coconut country is trying to teach other Israelites who are dispersed what the Torah says really means. Ima, what's on your mind? You want me to go to Numbers? 16? All right, 16. 32? All right. We're going to be done shortly, Mishpachah. 32, you said, Ima? Yeah. All right, go ahead and read.
Numbers chapter 16, verse 32 to 36.
36.
No, 32 to 36.
Oh, 32 to 36.
Yes.
Okay, Ima, you're confusing me.
Go ahead. The earth opened up her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses.
That's number 16. That's number 16, Ima.
Number 16.
Number 16. 16, and we just had 16. It says 32. 32? No. Ima, you're looking at the wrong thing. All right, Ima.
Oh, so Numbers 15. Okay, Numbers 15, verse 32 to 36. Okay.
All right. We spinning it. Don't get dizzy.
Getting frozen.
Let's go. Let's get it.
It says, while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Shabbat day. And they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And they put him inward because it was not declared what should be done to him. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp.
Mm-hmm.
And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with stones. And he died as Yahuwah commanded Moses.
He was performing work, yes. And he wasn't supposed to do work.
Collecting.
Right, outside the camp. So you're in a camp, you're closed up, you take care of your business. Yes, you can microwave something if you want to heat it up, especially you're in a hot country, but you don't want to go ahead and start no work, chopping things up and cooking or whatever the case would be. Unless it's one of those Shabbat days where it's a double Shabbat, like today's a Shabbat, tomorrow's a Shabbat, and you got to prepare something tomorrow for that same day. Yes, you can, because the Bible says so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go back to Leviticus so we can wrap it up. Everybody's good so far? We all right?
Yeah.
I don't know if Brother Marcus is here. Okay. So we look out for the sighting of the moon to let us know when the next day is going to be. Because you can't go backwards. You can't see the moon tonight and then go backwards to do the offerings throughout the day. That don't make any sense. You move forward. Like you don't see the stop sign and then go backwards. The stop sign is to let you know to stop here before you can move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Some Israelites have this kind of a weird understanding where you see the moon, but then you got to keep the feast that day that the moon was sighted. Like, how do you do that? How do you offer? How did the priest offer a sacrifice on the new moon day when they see the new moon at the end of the day? How do you offer something that's supposed to be done in the morning when you see the thing when the sun set after the evening? How do you go backwards and do it? They can't answer it. So the only time you can do it is to move forward. I mean, it's just simple understanding. Does everybody understand this? Yeah. Because you're going to hear stuff from Israelites, especially you that are newborn. You're going to hear stuff from other Israelites that's going to confuse you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? All right. Let's read on. Leviticus chapter 23, verses 23. Let's pick it up from there, Brother Shane.
Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 23. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, saying, in the 7th month, in the first day of the month, shall ye have a Shabbat, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, a holy convocation.
So in the 7th month, so right now is the 6th month. When do we have the 7th month? When the sun set, the nighttime is still part of that count for this day. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. If you do it numerically speaking, it doesn't start a new number. For example, if today is the 9th day of the 6th month, when the sun set, does that start the 10th? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Okay? So when you see the sighting of the moon tonight, it lets you know you start everything the next day, because if I see the moon at night, most of Israel is asleep. Mm-hmm. Only the watchman is going out as witnesses to see what's going on. Tell the Sanhedrin, which is the council, the elders, which is the court, and the court who regulates the law that the Most High has given them. Mm-hmm. They will tell Israel, hey, hear Israel, you was one, and then they come out and the people know, okay, boop, 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 you know, they know the next day we convocate. They don't have time to prepare nothing, so the Most High said, okay, on that day, you cook your food, you get things ready, you meet up at such and such time, you do what has to be done. That same day. You know it's coming, but you're not sure. But what if I don't see the thing? So you wait until you see it. That's what we do. And people say, well, that don't make any sense, brother. You know, well, because you have Egypt in your head, and Egypt is all square bricks. Everything is going to match up. But in Egypt, you don't see square buildings, you see pyramids. How do you get a pyramid, a capstone, with square bricks? The Most High don't deal with bricks. He deal with stones, unhewn stone. None of the stones are the same. So, and it's all man-made. A man has put their hand in it. The Most High says, you can't do that. For my sacrifice, my altars have to be made with unhewn stone. If you put an iron to it, you have defiled it. So you got to go collect the stuff. All right?
Pull up 1 Kings 8 verse 2 real quick. It's just to show a reference point of what the 7th month is.
1 Kings. Which one is that?
1 Kings chapter 8 verse 2. It says, and all the men of Israel assembled themselves unto King Solomon at the feast in the month Ithanim, or Tishri, when you look it up, which is the 7th month. So if you're looking for a reference, when you go through it, the Bible tells you what month is what, when it falls, and the names and so forth. So this is a reference point so you can have.
Now, Ashkenaz will tell you the 7th month is Rosh Hashanah, which is not, Rosh in Hebrew means head. It's not no Rosh Hashanah. Okay? It's Yom Teruah. We don't say happy Rosh Hashanah because how do you have
new
the beginning of the months of the year at the end of the year? When the Torah is telling you at the end of the year, let's go back to Leviticus. At the end of the year, at the end of the year, at the end of the year. So the Most High is telling you at the end of the year, and this is just show you how when the Most High puts something down, there's always somebody who champions going against the grain. And people, and you see it everywhere. This is why today the Most High is always proven with us, me as an example of one who is following the Most High, and those who are not following the Most High, because in their minds they find every which way in the Bible to go against it. With the Garden of Eden group, with the Don't Keep the Feast group, with we don't use New Testament group, we don't believe in Yeshua as the Messiah group. What else we have? We go into heaven group. There's no resurrection group. I mean, there's so many groups.
All kinds of crazy stuff.
And all I can say is that if the Most High, if it came out of his mouth, that's what I'm going to do.
No baptism.
If it comes out of your mouth, I am not doing it. Your mouth stinks. His mouth is sweet.
Hallelujah.
His mouth have life. Your mouth have death.
Death breath.
And I'm not taking anything from your mouth, because you got a tongue in there that can whip a person in all directions. And vomit comes out of your mouth. There's no vomit coming from my Elohim.
Life.
So I'm going to take life from his mouth, and you can shut your mouth and go somewhere else with that. And anybody who wants to follow your mouth, go ahead. But don't bring your mouth stuff to me. I don't want to hear what comes out of your mouth. I want to hear what comes out of his mouth. And when he says that, I look at it, yes, Father, I honor you. I honor you. Even if you from your mouth say, I don't like what comes out of his mouth, I don't care. Because guess what? Show me eternal life from your mouth. Show me the place of eternal life that you prepared for me, and I will follow you, because you got the keys to life and death. You have eternal life. You're building the kingdom. Show it to me, and I'll follow you. You can't. So shut your mouth, go back in your hole, and leave me be with my king.
Shalom.
Let's read, Brother Shea. I spoke enough.
Verses 25. Ye shall do no servile work therein, but ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah.
So when it says don't do no servile work, servile means that you're serving people. How many people in ancient Israel serve at nighttime? Get up and go work at night.
McDonald's.
So what is the application? What is the true application of this servility? What is a true application of servility? Anybody tell me? That's right, Sister Mercy. Day shift.
Working the land, working the animals, and
Go out there with your machete,
construction.
your cutlass, and go on your shears to go out there and shear animals at nighttime.
Let me understand.
Go reap corn at night, swinging that thing. If a brother was with you, helping you to get the corn at nighttime, that's scythe or seeth, what do you call it?
Cut your legs off.
Slicing that Israelite. You go cut sugar cane at night.
But this is why today we have such a problem with the Most High's calendar, because the heathens have taken this and made it into a monetary gain by making 24-hour shifts, putting lights all over the place so you can work at all kinds of hours. And now everything has changed now. So people who are growing up in today's world cannot understand yesterday's world. So they're looking through the glasses again of westernized eyes to see and understand what the Most High is telling us to do. But it's simple.
It's just like how today you have, and this is no slight on you sisters, so please don't take this the wrong way. You have modern women looking for old-fashioned men. In other words, you want to expect all practices of the Tanakh, but you want to modernize it by thinking from a modern mindset. It's not going to work. If you're going to go back to the Tanakh, you have to also go back to the agrarian mindset of that time. That's the only way it will work. This is why there's always a clash of civilization. Yes, Ima, what's your Ima? John 11:9. Okay. Everybody good so far?
Yeah.
But you want to stop? John 11:9. Well, we'll eat because we're not having any Friday Night Live tonight, remember? John 11:9. John 11:9. Let's read.
Book of St. John, chapter 11 and verse 9.
9 and 10.
9 and 10. Yeshua answered, Are they not 12 hours in the day?
In the what?
In the day.
In the day.
If any man walk in the day.
In the what?
The day.
He walking in the day.
He stumbleth not. Because he seeth the light of this world.
He seeth light. And yes, it's a reference to him, but how can the people understand this without cultural things that they're already doing around them? 10.
But if a man walk in the night, he stumbleth.
He stumbleth, right? Go ahead.
Because there is no light in him.
So he must do the work of the one who sent him. And when does he do the work? Basically in a day. So there might be some exceptions, like soldiers and watchmen and stuff like that. Shepherds being out at night because they have no choice. But nobody goes out farming at nighttime unless you're picking mushrooms. And that was not part of Israelites' diet either. Yes, Ima. Yes, Ima. Speaking to the mic.
He was speaking to the Hebrews, to the Israelites, to the Jews. Those days they didn't have no light, no lamp poles as you spoke before to do anything. When night come, as you
that's right. You know how expensive it is for you to get oil and light oil on every post. Like you're gonna go out there and put a post everywhere in Israel. Like Israel had great technology back in those days. The Most High was always a fire by night. Come on. Anyway, let's get back here. So 25 says, you shall do no servile work therein, meaning that you're serving someone else. You go to employment. Verse 26.
And you will speak unto Moses, saying, also on the 10th day of this 7th month, there shall be a day of atonement. It shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall afflict your souls and offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. And ye shall do no work in the same day.
In that same
day. For it is a day of atonement, to make an atonement for you before Yahuwah your Elohim. For whatsoever soul it be that shall not be afflicted in that same day, he shall be cut off from among his people. And whatsoever soul it be that doeth any work in that same day, the same soul will I destroy from among his people. Ye shall do no manner of work.
No kind of work.
It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings.
So it means that you can't work for yourself and you can't work for anyone else. No manner of work, no type of work. You stop everything that you're doing. No washing dishes, no washing clothes, none of that stuff. Okay. Verse 32.
It shall be unto you, verse 32, a Shabbat of rest, and ye shall afflict your souls in the 9th day of the month at evening.
When?
At evening.
Let's say today is the 9th day. At evening is still part, the evening when the sun set is still part of the 9th, number 9. Read on.
And, okay, evening, from evening unto evening shall ye celebrate your Shabbat.
So wait a minute.
So they take
Go back here. It says on the 10th day. Where is it?
Go up,
right here.
Verse 27.
The 10th day. But the 10th day, he says, from the evening of the 9th day. From even to even. So if you start on the evening of the 9th, throughout that whole night, and when the sun rises, that's the 10th day.
Continue.
All the way until the sunset on the 10th day. When the sun set on that evening, you stop from your atonement. Does that make sense, brothers and sisters? That's right, House of Yehuda. It's the 24-hour or 24-hour period of time. Okay?
And that's the only reference in the scripture about evening to evening.
That's right. That's right. Because if today, let's say today, this is Friday, and they're going to keep the Shabbat. This is still part of Friday. When the sun set, that's still part of Friday. So they would start now, and they'll keep it until the next. This is backwards. It's backward. Because they're using two calendars. They're going back and forth to keep the Most High's feast days, and then switch back to the Roman calendar.
That's what I always ask them when people come to me and say, we keep the feast days, but we follow the Gregorian Saturday Shabbat. And I said, that makes no sense, because if you're going to say, okay, let's just use the heathens term, April. They use April as the first month of the year. But then they're going to go back to Saturday as their Shabbat. What sense does that make? You either do it all the way, or you don't do it at all.
That's right. It's confusion. So that's why it's important. Go check out the classes. We spend more time, dealing with the luminaries and explaining certain things. Hopefully, it'll help. If not, no, I understand about people and their jobs, because we've already covered that also. We're in diaspora, I understand that, but you got to cry out like that woman who has been forced into a sexual encounter that she did not want to engage herself in. We don't want to engage ourselves in these things, but we are forced sometimes in these situations. So what do? We cry out to our King. All right. Let's read on so we can finish this up.
Verse 32. It shall be unto you a Shabbat of rest. I think we read that already.
Okay. Verse 30. Okay, let's keep on down here. Let's read 34.
Verse 34. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, the 15th day of this 7th month shall be the feast of tabernacles for 7 days unto Yahuwah. On the first day shall be a holy convocation. Ye shall do no servile work therein. 7 days ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you. And yes, when it talks about the fire part, we understand that part's on hold. So for those who are hearing this, we're not doing the fire part for now. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, and ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. It is a solemn assembly, and ye shall do no servile work therein.
All right, so you see, the first day, the 7th month, you got the 15th day of the 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles for 7 days. The first day will be a holy convocation. Don't do any work on that particular day. You got 7 days of celebration, right, before the Most High, assembly for the Most High, and no work at all. Now let's read on verses 37. Let's read from there.
Verse 37. These are the feasts of Yahuwah, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations, to offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offerings, everything upon his day, beside the Shabbats of Yahuwah, and beside your gifts, and beside all your vows, and beside all your free will offerings.
No, force.
Free will, which ye give unto Yahuwah.
How do you give it unto the Most High? This confuses a lot of people. That's another class. There's a class I need to bring forth called a commandment to give. If the earth itself, and I'll just give you a little overview, if the earth itself do not allow what you call evaporation, we will get no rain. Something has to give for you to receive something else. It's a cycle, it flows, it continues to flow. As you give, it returns unto you. That's just the way it is. Most High set everything for a reason. You have to figure out what that really means, okay? There's always a blessings behind those things. Okay, so let's see verses 39.
Verse 39, also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Yahuwah 7 days. On the first day shall be a Shabbat, and on the 8th day shall be a Shabbat.
Now, when you look at the feast days, it also runs parallel, okay, with the way the world works, and also with the kingdoms that be, and also what the Most High has planned as far as the kingdom to come. Okay, and everything also runs along the agrarian. The feast days, you present the seed or the fruit or the gathering or your whatever you have, and the males must present themselves before the Most High too, because they're the ones that bears the seed. You don't see where it says to the females to present themselves. The males represents the females. They present themselves in the behalf of the others. They're the ones that have to give an answer, because the Most High put Adam in charge of the garden, not Eve. He's the one that has to present whatever that's going on in the garden to the Most High, not his wife. He don't hide behind his wife. That's out of order. He goes to the front and he represents everything, and the wife supports him, a helpmeet for his needs. And so we have to follow the same pattern, even in agrarian culture. It's the same thing. It all runs parallel with each other. Now, if you don't follow, if you go, for those of you who know about farming, it makes sense. But those of you who sit in a room looking through the window, it don't make any sense, because you are so accustomed to buying product that you're disconnected from nature. Okay, you don't know about the moon. You need an app. You don't know about food. You need a location to the Whole Food store. You don't know anything because we have been disconnected, many of us, from that culture. But those of us who have been exposed to that, it makes a lot of sense, and it's easy to be understood, and it makes sense how it goes with the whole thing of salvation. Okay, now where did you stop?
Verses
39. You didn't get to the 8th day. Read that.
I did.
Read 39 again.
Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, when ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto Yahuwah 7 days. On the first day ye shall be
a Shabbat.
On the first day shall be a Shabbat.
So the first day and the 15th day,
and on the 8th day shall be a Shabbat.
So on the 8th day, so you got 7 days, and then the last day, the 8th day, will be a Sabbath. Okay. Let's read.
And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook. And ye shall rejoice before Yahuwah your Elohim 7 days.
Sukkot.
And ye shall keep it a feast unto Yahuwah 7 days in the year. It shall be a statute forever in your generations. Ye shall celebrate it in the 7th month.
In
Continue.
the 7th month. Okay. Yeah, read on.
Ye shall dwell in booths 7 days. All that are Israelites born shall dwell in booths, that your generation may know that I made the children of Israel to dwell in booths. When I brought them out of the land of Egypt, I am Yahuwah, your Elohim.
All right. So let's go to, I think it's Exodus.
And then I want you to pull up one for me too. Psalms.
Okay, I'll pull it up for you now. Psalms what?
104, verse 23.
Psalms 104, verse 23.
It's just talking about the night and the day, working and stuff like that. And verse 23.
23. All right.
It says, man goeth forth unto his work and to his labor until the evening. So just showing you that when they used to work, they work up until the going down of the sun.
Man goeth forth unto his work and his labor until the evening, which is a very powerful statement. It goes to show that we really are slaves, because it goes against even nature. The scientists prove that when you work those night shift things, it really affects the body a whole lot.
So much problems.
And I used to work night shifts for many years. It really messed me up a whole lot, that I found a loophole. Anyway, I'm not going to say that because I don't want Israelites to go out and try something. Next thing you know, Brother Yonah, you told me son.
Got me fired.
I fired now. Anyway, let me go to Exodus. This is our final text, and we're going to wrap it up. Unless there's something else I need to look at, but let's go to Exodus 23. Everybody's good in the chat? Mishpachah is good. 23. We're going to look at verses 12. All right, so in Exodus chapter 23 and 12, let's read that, then we'll skip down to verses 14.
Exodus chapter 23, verses 12 downwards. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest, that thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thy handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed. Verse 13. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect.
Oh, no, let's skip on to 14.
Verse 14. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year.
So we got 3 times in the year, which are broken up by the agrarian cycles that exist on earth. It's not normal for us to be out there working on the 4th season or the 4th time of the year.
Which is winter.
That time is the 3. So there's always the Most High, just like a woman she goes through a cycle, she needs a time to rest her body and rebuild, renew herself. The moon goes through the cycle of renewal. The earth has to go through a cycle of renewal. Anything that has to bear has to stop and go through a cycle of renewal. The sun now is different. Sun is always shooting out heat. All ready to go. Baby, I'm ready. I'm sorry, all your brakes. I'm ready, babe. I'm ready to fire. Burn, I'm ready.
But I'm
You're
talking
hot,
about.
But hold your horses. Go ahead now.
Talking about the cycle and so forth. That's why when people ask why it's 9 months a child is to birth, it's the same reason. The season, you have 3 months for one season, 3, 6, 9, right? And then the 3 months is for the woman to rest, for the land to rest itself, and it goes on that same way too. So that one season, which is the winter season, is a time for rest. So that's why it says here, 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. When you look at Ashkenaz calendar, they only have it twice in the year. Everything is bundled up in the spring, and the rest is bundled up in the fall. There is no summer connection at all. And I know people deal with agrarian stuff in the summer. Isn't that true? Don't you go out there and plant stuff in the summer? Oh yeah.
Don't you still work the ground in the summer, or we have a different system? Okay, So the way that they have stuff, and so you got to ask yourself, well, wait a minute, where's the 3? Everything is in the spring. Shavuot is in the spring, and then you have a whole summer empty, and then you come into the fall. It makes no sense. Now let's read 15 to 16. I'm going to review real quick the Yom Torah family guidelines, and then we'll try to close it up. Okay, wrap it up.
Exodus 23, verse 15 and 16. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty.
So don't show up before him empty. Empty.
Verse
John
16.
says, bring full fruits. Everything you have to always be bringing something to the table. You're going to hear Israelites saying you don't bring nothing. Yah knows my heart. That's the same. That Israelite, put them as the third person in Yeshua's parable about those with the talents. Just put them write their names there. And you just write their names there, okay? Or put a little asterisk and put a sheet of paper and write all the names of people who say that. 16, let's get it.
And the feast of harvest, the first fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou hast gathered in the laborers out of the field.
So Abib is dealing with spring. Feast of harvest, does it say anything about the spring? Does it say anything about the end of the year? No. Because it says, which you have sown in the field. First fruits, labor. Then it says, and the feast of ingathering, which is where? In the end of the year, right? When you have gathered in your labors out of the field. Field. We got fields all over the place, right? All right, 17. Let's read this.
3 times in the year, all thy males shall appear before Yahuwah Elohim.
Where does it say the females? Remember, the women are not always able to come before the Most High because of their physical circumstances. But the males, they'll be defiled, wash themselves, boom, they're ready to go again. The females, there are some time limits, certain things in their bodies, as I said before, need to rest. A lot of our sisters have a child, boom, back out to work.
Worst thing.
They have their bodies are unclean for a certain time, and they're in everything. And then later on, their bodies, they're trying to keep up with the household duties. Instead of their resting their womb to go back, because 9 months your womb is stretching. And then in 2 weeks, you want that to be happening like this.
Nope.
Your joint, your body's, your waist is opening up wide, and in 2 weeks or 1 week or 3 days, back together again. Take a shot, go to the doctor, shoot that thing in the thing, and all of a sudden I'm Wonder Woman, I'm a Zonian woman. Muscles everywhere. I can go, I can fly, I can do everything as a man. And then when you're about 40 something, oh, my hip, my dip, my lip, my pip, my pop, my poop, all kind of stuff is happening. I can't do this anymore, but you can't have another wife. All right, let's move on. So let's look at the Yom Torah family guidelines. All right, so Feast of Trumpet, we got the scriptures and the notes.
Pull it up there. No.
That's all right. I don't put people's names. You blow your trumpets, your Feast attire, you have royal clothing. No work, preparation. You already posted it. Preparation of food is allowed, so you can prepare food. You can cook on that day. You blast your shofar. It's a day feast. Okay. It comes suddenly, so after Shabbat, we start looking for the moon. Boom, it's right here. Don't go out shopping for stuff. When Shabbat is over this evening, go out if you have to, and you can buy your wine, you can buy your food that you have to cook, whatever you got to do, you can do it tonight. Prepare all those things, so when it comes, boom, the next day, you can
celebrate,
prepare your stuff, okay? As far as the menu is concerned, there's no restrictions when it comes to that, just as long as it's clean stuff. 7th month, of course, we already read that, and so forth. All right, everybody's good? Everybody's good? Oh, wait a minute. Did I miss something here? All right. And we will meet. We will have class again to keep our people in line. It's for your family, you and your family to celebrate. Yeah, you can have games and stories and you can interact with your family. Have a good time. Rejoice. Have some wine if need be. If you can't deal with the wine, then don't deal with it so you won't be a fool all over the place. Mm-hmm. All right? And you should be good. Not whatever you're so lusty after, so you want to have some cigars and smoke some weed.
No.
There are weed Israelites and there are cigar Israelites who smoke cigars and all kinds of foolishness. No chimney. All right, so let me look at some questions real quick.
So no smoking, Mr. Bacall.
Okay, Sister Deborah, if you go to the class about with the Near Eastern culture, head of household part 1, part 2, that's the good place to start. The book is an expensive book. I think it's like about $900 or $500, some kind of a month, $400 or something I think it is. It's expensive. There's that book and there's some other books too. I forgot the name of the author. Let me see something here. I'm going to bring all that information out so you'll be able to get that. But if you go to let me see here. Let me see here. What's that you said?
I was reading the chat. Someone says Raymond Westbrook.
Yes, that's the person, Westbrook. All right, here's an article that I can look at. It's called The Legal Status of Barren Wives in Ancient Near East. CBE International, this is a PDF that I pulled off this website. The legal status of barren wives in the Near East. Talk about biblical narratives of barren wives such as Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, Hannah, and the mother of Samson paint a picture of God's sovereignty and faithfulness to fulfill promises of a burgeoning nation. In these narratives, the modern reader encounters polygyny and palocity, wife rivalry, parental treatment of certain wives and their children, and divorce, all of which are seemingly at odds with our biblical notion of marriage, our biblical notions of marriage, divorce, and ethical treatment of others. Though scripture is mostly silent on the ramifications of barrenness, it is possible to look beyond the biblical witness to a broader ancient culture in order to understand its impact both on the women involved and society as a whole. Ancient legal, mythical, ritual, and medical records not only provide us with the broader cultural understanding of barrenness, but also at times mirror some of the personal and spiritual responses found in the biblical material as a means of further understanding how this malady, impacted ancient Near Eastern civilization. This article focuses on barrenness. In legal records, okay? Akkadian legal material, where Abraham was around that same area, often signifies the biological status of the barren wife with the phrase, the one who has not borne children. Her title is often simply wife. If she is the first of multiple wives, however, she is often distinguished as first-ranking wife or wife of equal status. A barren wife represents similarly a surmountable obstacle to one of the primary functions of marriage, to produce heirs capable of assisting with the substance and economic stability of the family. One could even say that in some situation, a childless marriage was not a full-fledged marriage. Y'all see that? Mm-hmm. What avenues are left for a barren wife to secure her future? While the most obvious solution would be to adopt a child, A variety of legal parameters protecting a first-ranking wife suggest alternative options, such as taking a second wife to provide a biological heir. However, taking a second wife is far more likely to threaten the status of the first-ranking wife than adopting an heir. Thus, it is beneficial to study the marriage allowances and limitations concerning a barren wife found in extant legal collections. Right. So the article goes on into all of these things here with the wives and taking on a second wife, and if the one becomes sick or disease, she can't fulfill her duty. You take on a second wife, and just a whole lot of different things that is from the cultures of that region. That's another class by itself, and it helps to bring more light, okay, to what we read in the scriptures. All right, even with sisterhood and things of that nature. All right, so I'm going to close this out. I don't want to be too long-winded.
Put that link in the chat. Everybody wants to get that link. I was trying to get it.
What's that?
The link you just finished reading?
You put it in the chat?
No, I'm trying to get it to pull it. Well, what was it so I can put it in the chat?
I just had it up, Brother Shay. They can snapshot the thing and. All right. I don't have the link in front of me, but I'm just going to copy this and post this in the chat. Let me see. Where is the chat? Right here. 1 second, brothers and sisters. And boom. That's an article, okay, from a Christian standpoint, giving you historical accounts of Near Eastern culture, where how things operated. And I'll get into some more from different perspectives so you can get a full, four-dimensional aspect of what the Torah is saying, because sometimes it seems like that's all we need. We need more information to just to do what the Most High say to do. And even if you put everything on the table, most of the people are looking for a way out from keeping what the Most High said to do. That's all it is. All right, so Sister Deborah, I hope that answers your question. Is there such a thing, Brother Darren from Montserrat, such a thing as transition days? Like when the moon, think of transition days. I hope this is what you're referring to. Think of transition days like when you're driving a car, and in Montserrat, I'm sure you have mountains and hills. You got to go around a curve. When you're driving straight down the road, you're driving, let's say, 50 miles an hour. But when you're making a turn around the corner, you cut that thing almost half or less than half. You're not going at the same speed, but you're making a turn. And as you're making a turn, it takes a little bit longer, right? A little bit longer, almost equivalent, twice as long as if you were going in a straight line. So the moon going a certain way, when it's making that change, now it has to, it's like it's changing, it's slowing down. The days may, sometimes you have a longer before the moon actually shows that sliver of light. Okay? I hope that you're able to see that. Brother Pinker says, some Christian women want ancient blessings but don't want to accept the curses. Yep, that's right, brother. Let me say it one more time. Some Christian women want, and some Christian men too, because there are men who combat me on this issue. Some Christian men and women want ancient blessings but don't want to accept the curses. Okay? All right. Okay, what else we got here? I think that's about it, Mishpaka. So, Brother Yona's going to stop here. I think we should be good at this point. And again, I'm traveling out on Wednesday, and I will be back here, most high willing, on Monday of the following week. And we're looking out for sighting of the moon. Please take your pictures, send that out to me so we can confirm everything and we can be in line with the Most High's feast. These things happen suddenly. This is why we got to keep our eyes looking up. This is why we look to the heavens for the return of our King. Herod did it. I mean, he didn't do it, but he knew the law, he knew the prophecy, but the wise men did and relayed that information to him, and that created a problem for the young in Israel. And if we want to be ready for a king, we always have to not lose sight of his law, statutes, and commandments. All right. So I hope that helped each and every one of you. Any other questions that you may have before I say shalom? Because we'll be back on the next Shabbat, which is Yom Teruah, the Feast of the Most High. Any other? Everybody enjoy the class? It was good. Yeah. All right. All praise to our King. And I thank the Most High for giving me the strength and the wisdom. His wisdom is far above. All right, everybody's saying thank you and yes. All right, thank you so much for your patience. And some people will call you all yes men and women. Oh, y'all will not disagree. You only want people that agree with you. Let me ask this question: in the kingdom, the Most High is going to let people who disagree with him in his kingdom? Do you want people who disagree with you to be working in your kitchen? You want people to disagree with you working in your job? You want people to disagree with that? List goes on. But when it comes to teaching, I'm supposed to open up the door wide, let all the flies come in. Let all the flies come on in. I'm not supposed to chase any flies.
Just let them in, let them in.
Let the mosquitoes and the flies come in. You have no idea the kind of stuff that I gotta hear, you know. But anyway, it is what it is. That's just the road we are on. And Israelites is gonna persecute and try to paralyze your mind with fear. With fear.
Is that Brother Pincus?
Huh? No. Brother Shears asking me if this is Brother Pincus here holding the scrolls. It looks like him a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe about 20 years from now, you think?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Brother Pincus, you can give Brother Shea a call and chew him out. He's the one who pointed that out, not me. All right. So I love you all. Stay strong, stay sharp. Let me see. I don't see any other questions in the room. I hope it answers both questions. And for those who don't know about the feast days, no work. Follow the guidelines. You're going to be quite okay. All right. Quite okay. If you miss it this time, ask the Most High forgiveness. Run real fast to do it good the next time. Don't hide, okay? Run real fast. Be like Zacchaeus. He was a short guy.
Up in a tree.
And he says, listen, I want you to come to my house today. And I'll pay back 4 times of whatever I've stolen from Israel, okay? All right, thank you so much. All right, Elder. All praises to our King. Thank you all. Brother Shea, thank you.
All praises.
It's because I'm looking forward to seeing those emails. Please don't tell me I didn't see anything. Go out there.
Do the homework.
Be careful as you're looking around for it and send me those things, okay? All right. All praises to our King. All praises to our King. Pray for each other, love each other, and continue on the road to Zion. The road to Zion. Hallelujah. Elder?
Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High. Thank you for the teaching, the class, the food for thoughts, and everything that was said today. All praise to the Most High. Father in heaven, we give you thanks and praise for your blessing upon Brother Yona, Brother O'Shea, as they teach and read together as may your will be done in our life. Help us, Father, to give you thanks and praise. We bless your name. Father, we thank you so much. Bless the offering, bless the food as we're about to eat, and help us to enjoy the rest of the day, because we ask it through your Son, Yeshua, we pray. Amen.
The words of our mouths, the meditation of our hearts, be acceptable in your sight, O Yah, our strength, our Redeemer. Shabbat Shalom. Love you all. Stay strong, stay sharp. May the Most High be with you. Until next time, we say Shalom.